There are some huge names competing at this year's Giro d'Italia, but who are the riders who could spring a surprise on a stage? A little bit like Primož Roglic and Giuliano Ciccone did at last year's event. Well, coming up are GCN's outsiders to watch at this year's race. Roglic's teammate Victor Campenaerts made his Grand Tour debut at the Vuelta a España at the end of last year, and he makes our list courtesy of his time trialling ability. He is in fact one of the few riders to get the better of Alejandro Valverde so far this year. He pipped him by a single second to win the time trial stage of the Ruta del Sol all the way back in February. He's a former under-23 European champion in the discipline and the current Belgium national time trial champion, so watch out for him at the two individual tests at this year's race. Still just 22 years of age, Jakob Mareczko of Wilier-Triestina has already got 22 pro wins to his name. He made his debut at the Giro d'Italia last year, but it was far from successful. He didn't figure at all in the opening sprint stages up in the Netherlands, and then he was forced to withdraw from the race on stage 5 through respiratory problems. Now, he has won a lot already, but those have generally been in smaller races, and that is something that he'll be looking to change in the near future. And if he is at full health this year, a stage win is certainly not out of the question. You would think that a stage win at last year's race would be enough to have your name struck off an outsiders list like we're going through today. But Alexander Foliforov of Gazprom-Rusvelo is still not a big name. His win in the uphill time trial last year was a huge surprise, but those that raced with him as an amateur in the under-23 ranks were quick to say that he's always been exceedingly good at one-off efforts on the climbs. Without an uphill time trial this year though, he will have to hope he can get himself into the breakaways on the stages that most suit him. Ryan Gibbons is a 22-year-old South African rider in his first year as a professional, riding for Team Dimension Data. And what a start he has had to his pro career. Back in February, he won a stage and the overall classification at the Tour of Langkawi, and along the way he took a further 5 top 5 placings on the stages. He was nothing short of consistent. Now, it remains to be seen exactly which direction Gibbons takes his career. There's no doubt he's very fast in the sprint stages, but he also sees himself with a future in the single-day classics. Nevertheless, it is in the flat stages that we see him shining at the Giro. Hugh was offered his first year in the World Tour by Cannondale-Drapac for 2017, and he earned that through some very big performances last year. Back then he was riding for the smaller Spanish outfit Caja Rural, and he won the Vuelta Asturias overall, plus at the Route du Sud he was climbing with none other than Nairo Quintana. No wonder he had a few offers on the table for this year. Thus far he has been unable to take a victory in 2017, but he has been consistently strong throughout, and we think if he gets himself into the right breakaway in the mountains, he could well take a stage victory. As could his teammate Michael Woods. Rusty, as he's known to his teammates, had to cut a promising middle distance running career short through injury, but running's loss has been cycling's gain. He certainly excels on the short, steep and explosive climbs, and he will find that type of terrain in abundance in Italy. At 20 years of age, Vincenzo Albanese is going to be one of the youngest riders on the start line of this year's race, but he certainly merits his place on his Bardiani squad. Last year he took some impressive victories as an amateur, including a stage win at the Tour de l'Avenir, where he also won the points classification overall, plus a win in front of some decent pros at the Trofeo Matteotti, where he was riding for the Italian national team. Now, he's not a sprinter, nor is he a climber, but if he manages to get himself up the road in a group on one of those rolling, hilly, intermediate days, he's going to be a hard man to beat. Team Dimension Data's Omar Foley could not have got his debut Giro d'Italia off to a better start last year. He won the KOM jersey on stage 2, and that's in fact a competition he'd won overall at the Vuelta a España the previous year. However, it all then went wrong. He had a crash on stage 4, got a fever that evening, and didn't manage to finish the following day's stage. Fraile loves to go on the attack though. We've seen it loads of times at the Grand Tours, but we saw it very recently at Liège-Bastogne-Liège, one of the biggest one-day races in the world. Firstly, he was in a small group, and latterly he attacked on his own, very close to the finish. That proves that he is a man on form, and also that he is not afraid to go on the attack in front of the biggest riders in the world. We can expect to see him up the road at the Giro on more than one occasion, I can almost guarantee you that. Okay, those are our outsiders to watch at this year's event, but if there are any smaller names that you're particularly looking forward to seeing throughout the stages, please let us know in the comment section down below and let us know why in particular we should be watching out for them. If you are yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so by clicking on the globe. If you'd like to head to our shop, you'll find a link on the screen right now, and you will be able to purchase, if you would like to, a special edition GCN Giro d'Italia t-shirt. And we've got some more Giro content coming up for you right now. Down here is the big GCN Giro d'Italia preview, including details of some of the stages. And also down here are GCN's top 8 riders to watch for the GC.